Welcome to Day 81 on the Trail. We have 5 readings for today from Acts 25 verses 13 through 27, Leviticus chapter 16, the 79th Psalm, Proverbs 16, and Tobit chapter 6 verses 10 through 18. Continuing in Acts 25, Paul is brought before Herod Agrippa II and Bernice, who have both come to visit Festus. Herod Agrippa II was the son of Herod Agrippa I. Bernice was also the daughter of Herod Agrippa I. That is, they were brother and sister. Now Bernice was widowed at the time and lived in her brother's court. However, according to Josephus, there were questions raised about the extent of the relationship between Herod Agrippa II and his sister. Now Festus decides to consult Agrippa II regarding Paul. Festus wants to know what charges he should write to the emperor, since Paul has already appealed his case to Caesar. It does seem strange, however, that a prisoner would be appealing a case for which the charges have yet to be formally presented. In summarizing the events surrounding the imprisonment of Paul, Festus indicates that the charges brought against Paul by the Jewish leadership do not violate any Roman laws. In Acts 25, beginning in verse 18, when the accusers stood up, they did not charge him with any of the crimes that I was expecting. Instead, they had certain points of disagreement with him about their own religion and about a certain Jesus who had died, but whom Paul asserted to be alive. It should be noted that Festus decides to leave out the request of the Jewish leadership to have Paul tried in Jerusalem, and his initial willingness to adhere to their plan to garner favor with the Jewish leaders. It is only when Paul appeals his case to the emperor that Festus decides that it would be politically expedient to hold Paul's trial in Caesarea. Now on day 82, we will focus our attention on Paul's response to Festus at his trial. In Proverbs 16, we find 2 verses which focus on our work. We spend a majority of our waking life engaged in some form of work. Whether that work is performed at home, in the field, or in the office, we spend countless hours every week in some form of work. Building and buying, cooking and cleaning, serving our community, or stressing in a cubicle. So perhaps we may ask ourselves, why do we spend so much of our time working? Well, there are several answers to that question. And I sincerely hope that one of those answers is that your work brings fulfillment and purpose. I hope that you enjoy your work and you are proud to do it well. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established." A similar motive for our work is found in Paul's letter to the church in Colossae, where he writes, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord and not for people." Regardless of our task, big or small, we do our jobs well because our work is a gift from God. How we work, the spirit of our work, the quality and determination of our work all reflect back to God. We conduct our work as if God Himself gave us the assignment. I hope you see your work like that, and that motivates your work. However, there's another reason that we work. Having a place to live, and clothes to wear, and food to eat are all necessary elements of life. And having a salary helps with them. Proverbs 16:26 says, "The appetite of workers work for them. Their hunger urges them on." But that is not the only purpose of our salary and the fruit of our labor. Again, Paul, writing to the church at Ephesus, also sees our salary as an opportunity to be a blessing to others. In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 28, Paul writes, "The thief must no longer steal, but rather let him work hard, doing good with his own hands, so that he might have something to share with the needy." We also work so that we can share. The blessing that God provides through work, in turn, provides us an opportunity to be a blessing. Throughout history, generosity has been a trademark for Christians. Their willingness to share the fruits of their labor was something very different from the world around them. While everyone else was holding tightly to what they had earned or accumulated, Christians used the blessing of their work as a means of sharing with those in need. However, this was much more than following an instruction given by Paul. Their motivation was much deeper and more powerful. In faith, Christians trusted Jesus with tomorrow so that they could share generously today. Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, stay on the trail.